Keyword research can seem a bit daunting for starting advertisers, so in this video I'm going to show you how to use Google Ads Keyword Planner. So to access the Keyword Planner, you need an account, and in your account you go to Tools and Settings, and then you go to Keyword Planner under Planning. Now in the home screen of the Keyword Planner you have two options. There's Discover New Keywords and Get Search Volume and Forecasts. Now, unless you already have a keyword or a keyword list, generally you'll want to start with Discover New Keywords, where you're going to create the list that later you're going to use in the forecast tool. So let's get started and click on Discover New Keywords. So a new window will load, and now you can choose between start with keywords or start with a website. Now I recommend you start with keywords, but I'm going to show you what start with a website does first. Now of course you can enter your own website here, but what you can also do is enter your competitor's website. Now these can be your direct competitors, but it could also be a giant in your space. So for example, let's imagine that I have a sneaker reseller website. Now some big brand like Nike or Adidas is not my direct competitor, but it would still be interesting for me, since I'm reselling their products, to see what they have on their website. So for now we're going to start with keywords. You can see right below here you can set the language and the location. Now the location does not have to be a country. It can also just be a city. It can also be worldwide. In some cases you can even go for postcodes, but it depends on the privacy threshold, how many people live in that postcode, etc. So for this example I'm going to pretend that I am a freelance graphic designer and I'm going to promote my services. Now you can get started with one keyword, but you can also add more. If you just add a comma and then a space, you can add another keyword. Now what you can do here is enter your own website, and the system is supposed to filter out services, products or brands that you don't offer, so it will not generate those types of keywords. Just to show you how this works, I'm not going to add any additional keywords. We're going to get started with just this one, and I'm going to click on Get Results. So you can see here I entered the keyword freelance graphic designer and it found 243 suggestions. Now I'm going to go over all of the information on the screen right now, all of the metrics that you get for this keyword. And let's just start at the top here. Again, you see the country and the language, which you can change if maybe you overlooked it in the previous screen, or if you just want to compare some things. And you can actually target multiple locations, so let's say you can add both the US and Canada. And here the date range is by default on the last 12 months, but you can change it to anything you want with custom, or you can go for last month, for example, if your sector is especially affected by seasonality and things like that. Then next you get some options to broaden your search. Now in this case I'm going to add graphic designer. You can see it gets added, and then you just need to click on Get Results again. And now you can see it's gone to 742, which is more than before. And that's because the keyword we added, graphic designer, is broader than freelance graphic designer. Refined keywords will get you in a bit. First I want to explain to you what all of these metrics mean. So of course the first column is simply the keyword itself, then average monthly searches. Now this one is interesting because you can see I only get ranges. So the expected traffic is 1K to 10K for freelance graphic designer, but just graphic designer on the other hand is 100K to 1 million. This is an account that I'm just using for these YouTube tutorials, so I'm not spending in this account. I don't even have my billing set up yet. But once you start spending in your account, you will get more detailed data. Then there's the 3 months change, and you can see that all of these keywords got 900% more traffic or more searches compared to 3 months before. And then the next column is the year-on-year change. It kind of speaks for itself. Then the competition. Competition tells you how popular the keyword is, how many advertisers are bidding on it. So you can see here graphic designer is actually pretty low competition, but then logo designer has very high competition. Now that could be because there's the same amount of advertisers bidding on it, but the searches are much lower. That we can't really tell right now. It could also be because logo designer is much more specific. So if you are a logo designer, you would rather have people find you by looking for a logo designer versus a graphic designer. Now add impression share, I'm going to explain at the same time as account status. You can see for account status here it's completely empty because none of these keywords are in my account. If they are in an active campaign, it will show here, and if it's in a plan, it will also show here. And the add impression share is only for keywords that are actually in your account. Impressions that you've received, if we don't have enough data, you'll see a dash. Then at the top of page bid, there's a low range and a high range. That means generally bidding in Google Ads really fluctuate. Just because you pay €2 or $2 for a click once doesn't mean you will pay that same amount again when you get another click on that same keyword. So then the low range would be the cheapest people typically pay to get on the top of the page, and the high range is, well, the most people would typically pay to get on the top of the page. So you can see here that both of them have a low range of 2 point something. But when we look at the high range, freelance graphic designer, apparently that's a much more valuable keyword because the high range is more than double of the high range of just graphic designer. So then refining keywords, because 742 is a lot to go through manually. So if we click here, this little window will open and you can see some categories that it's placing all of these keyword suggestions into. So first it's brand or non-brand, which typically happens with all keywords you put into Keyword Planner. So here you see different services, designers, but I'm going to show you this with a different example. So I'm going to go ahead and delete these and we're going to go for pet grooming. That's my next imaginary business, so let's go. Here we get 1100 keywords and you already see that the average monthly searches in general was a bit higher than the previous keywords we used. On the other hand, we are also still in the country US, which makes sense for a graphic designer, but not for a pet groomer. And you can see now the amount of average monthly searches has gone down. So we're going to click on refine keywords. Now you can see there's actually, except for brand or non-brand, different categories than there were with the graphic design keywords. I will just deselect the stores and brands because they're not relevant to my pet grooming business. Now animals. Let's say I specialize in dog grooming. Now, if you notice something like this, that might also give you a better idea for a seed keyword. So in this case, to use dog grooming specifically instead of pet grooming. And now you see that instead of just different species of animals, we get a list of different breeds of dogs. Now, if we go over here to keyword view, we can also go to grouped view. So it's kind of a bit the same as the categories for refined keywords. You can see that option is now also gone. You can sort of look at all of these keywords in groups, sort of like ad groups, and this might be a more efficient way to go through them. Now for this next example, I am now a catering business serving all of Maine. Now we're going to go back to the group view here. And instead of excluding them by refining the keywords, let's imagine I do not offer Italian with my catering business. Now, I really do not want to be found for people who are searching for Italian catering. Now, instead of just not using them as a keyword, you can add it as a negative keyword right from here. So when you select it, you can click here on these three little dots that say more, and you can add it as a negative keyword. Now, you can further narrow the list down by adding some filters. Now at some point you cannot really play with the filters and refining anymore. You will have to go through all of them manually. Now I do not recommend doing this in the keyword planner itself. In the top right corner you will find this little button to download the list as either a CSV or a Google Sheets file. If you select Google Sheets, you will get a little pop-up where it can be added to your drive, or you can select a folder. And if you download as CSV, it'll just start downloading and then you can open it. So this is what the downloaded list looks like. Unless you want to use it for something, you can delete all of this and just focus on the keywords themselves. You can go through them all manually. You can use some Excel formulas. I mean, depending of course on how many there are. And then when you have a list that you're satisfied with, you can simply copy paste into the forecast, which is where we're going now. Now, it is possible to go straight from this screen to forecast on the left hand side, and you see this is the plan I've been working on just now, but there aren't any keywords, and that's because you first need to add them to the plan. So for this example, let's just select them all and I will add them to the plan. You can also directly add it to an existing campaign, but that is not recommended. And then you need to click on add keywords. And we see here 847 keywords added to your plan. Now if I go to forecast, it'll take that plan, but it'll change the location and the language for some reason. So always watch out for that. And I do not recommend going about it this way anyway. I just wanted to show you how to do this. And then if you click on the cross, you would just end up back here on this screen. So now we want to go to get search volume and forecast. Now here it's going to get a little bit annoying because it's going to force you into creating a plan. You can also select a plan straight from here if you did indeed save the keywords from the previous steps in a plan. But what I want to show you here is that you can just enter any keyword, or you can copy and paste the list that you just narrowed down in Excel or whatever. And now I have a different business again. I have a web shop and I sell funny t-shirts. So I just want to get some general ideas about how many people are looking for funny shirts. And we click on get started. So now here you see we don't get into the forecast, we're back at the keyword plan and it's forcing me into this draft plan. So I will just call this funny shirts. And now that we force created this plan, we can go to forecast, where it really likes to change the location from the plan again. Now for the forecast, you can also change your bid strategy to see if that would affect it. So right now it is giving a forecast for next month. It is the 1st of June as of this recording, and it's going to forecast for the 1st of July until the 31st of July. Now we can change that to the upcoming days if we wanted to, or you can even put it further into the future, but do keep in mind that the closer it is to the actual date, the more accurate the forecast will be, because sometimes it's just really unpredictable, especially in the long term. Now here it is telling you how many clicks you can get for how much money with what average daily budget. Now the average daily budget you can change as well to see how that would affect things differently. But one very crucial metric is missing here, especially for a web shop like someone selling funny shirts, and those are the conversion metrics. Now I have not set up conversion tracking in this account, but I cannot stress enough that you really need to have conversion tracking set up before you set your first campaign live. This is also by no means a guarantee of anything, not of the cost, not of the amount of clicks, nothing. It is not a guarantee. It is just a forecast for that keyword, but it doesn't take everything into account about how your campaign is set up, how your website is, etc. Now as you scroll further down, you get some more information, and one interesting one is locations. So right now it is set on top states for the cost, but I want to see it for the clicks. Now we see California, Texas, and New York are the top 3 states. So now I want to look at the top cities. And the top city is actually Phoenix, which does not really match the top states. So now if we want to see what the actual top cities are in California, we can go back up here and change United States to specifically California. And here we see that Bakersfield, Oakland, and Los Angeles people are most interested in searching for funny shirts. So I've generated some extra keywords so you can see what that looks like. And then as you're going through this, of course, looking at all of the metrics, like for example, sarcastic t-shirts is gonna get me a whole lot more clicks than stupid t-shirts. So then you need to go through the list manually again and decide which ones you actually gonna wanna add to your campaign. So just for this example, I'll select a few random ones. And then as you select them, this blue bar will open up. Now here you can also change the match type. So right now they're all on broad match, but what if we want them on exact match? So if you click on here, it actually converted the layout and it added the square brackets to make it an exact match. Then you can, let's select the broad match ones as well. And you can click here on copy and you can simply paste it in the keyword setting of your campaign. So then when you're inside your campaign, you can go to keywords, select the ad group you want to add them to, and then you can simply paste it. Although it does seem like, unfortunately, it did not copy the brackets for exact match as well. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you learned something new today. It is also generally a good idea to combine the data from Keyword Planner with other tools such as Google Trends, but also third-party tools such as SEMrush and Ahrefs. And an important thing to remember, Keyword Planner is an advertising tool. It is not meant for SEO. Subscribe to my channel if you want to learn more about Google Ads, and good luck with your keyword management.